The lights of the press conference were hot and relentless, but nothing compared to the storm that was about to unfold. Cameras rolled. Microphones pointed. Sir Keir Starmer stood in front of the nation, calm on the outside but barely concealing the chaos within. For weeks, whispers had swirled around Westminster, the kind that start in closed rooms and end up plastered across the tabloids. But today, those whispers turned into a roar, and it came from the most unexpected direction, his own home. The scandal that ignited this firestorm wasn't born in Parliament, but on stage, where Jim Davidson, controversial comedian and longtime critic of woke culture, had taken a routine jab too far. At first, the media treated it like another headline-grabbing skit, nothing out of the ordinary for Davidson. But then footage leaked, unedited, raw, and damning. Davidson, during a private charity event, was caught making inflammatory jokes that not only targeted political figures, but bizarrely and shockingly included a pointed and deeply personal reference to Starmer's wife. That moment changed everything. Social media exploded within hours. Hashtags trended globally. And somewhere in the background of all the noise, Victoria Starmer, usually poised, quiet, the rarely seen pillar beside Britain's opposition leader, had reached her limit. The first on-camera crack came during a local community meet and greet in South London. Starmer was addressing constituents, giving his well-polished answers with steady cadence, when a sudden rustle from the crowd drew everyone's attention. Cameras turned just in time to catch Victoria striding through the back of the room, expression unreadable, eyes forward, clutching her phone like it was on fire. Keir glanced up, visibly stunned. He called her name once, soft, off-mic. But she didn't stop. She walked straight past him, straight past the press, and straight out the door. It was one of those moments you can't script. One of those scenes where silence screams louder than any speech. Reporters weren't sure what they'd just seen. For a brief moment, it seemed like it could be dismissed, maybe a personal emergency, a simple misunderstanding. But then came the second video. This time from a bystander's phone, posted on TikTok within the hour. Victoria, outside the venue, pacing, visibly distraught, telling someone on the phone, he should have shut it down. He should have said something. Silence is cowardice. Her words hung in the digital air like smoke. Millions watched. Millions re-watched. For Starmer, the political fallout was immediate, but the personal one was even more catastrophic. The man known for his control, his composure, his tight-lipped professionalism was suddenly the centerpiece of a scandal he hadn't even started. The public didn't just see a politician under fire, they saw a husband in crisis. It wasn't long before every outlet had a theory. Some speculated that Victoria had begged Keir to publicly condemn Davidson the moment the footage emerged. Others claimed she had long warned him about staying too neutral, about trying to rise above it, instead of standing firm. But in the midst of Britain's growing social tensions, and with Davidson's routine now seen by many as more than just comedy, but a pointed attack, the question became, why hadn't Starmer acted sooner? Behind closed doors, party officials were scrambling. Leaked memos showed that internal advisers had begged Starmer to issue a strong condemnation, not just of Davidson's words, but of the culture that allowed this sort of humor to remain unchecked. But Starmer, ever the legal mind, reportedly hesitated, wanting more context, fearing a misstep, thinking that silence might be interpreted as dignity. It wasn't. In the hours following Victoria's walkout, Labour Party insiders said Starmer was shaken, more human than we've ever seen him, and visibly emotional. One aide told a journalist anonymously, "I've never seen him like that. He wasn't thinking about politics, he was thinking about her." Meanwhile, Jim Davidson issued a video response of his own, smirking, unapologetic, claiming his words were taken out of context, and that he won't be silenced by political correctness. The video drew applause from his fanbase but also sparked renewed outrage. Several MPs, both Labour and Conservative, called the comments indefensible. Public pressure mounted. Celebrities, activists, and women's rights organizations chimed in. The message was clear: silence was no longer an option. When Starmer finally stepped up to the microphone later that evening, the mood was tense. This wasn't a political address. This was something else, raw, personal. His tie was loose. His eyes were tired. And for the first time in a long time, the carefully constructed image of the polished politician was gone. I have always believed in the value of restraint, of holding back judgment until facts are clear, he began. But there comes a time when silence doesn't represent strength. It represents failure, and I failed. He didn't mention Davidson by name, but he didn't have to. When someone you love is hurt, mocked, or humiliated, and you do nothing, that's not leadership. That's cowardice, and for that, I am truly sorry. It was a rare, vulnerable moment that drew mixed reactions. Some called it brave. Others said it was too little, too late. But one thing was clear, it wasn't about Davidson anymore. It was about trust. Trust between partners. Trust between a leader and the people he claims to represent. As the cameras shut off and the lights dimmed, the country was left wondering, what happens next? Would Victoria return by his side? Would this scandal fade, or would it leave a permanent mark on Starmer's career, and his marriage? In the days that followed, sources close to the family said the couple was taking time apart. Victoria, reportedly staying with close friends, had not made any public statement. Keir was seen arriving at Parliament looking noticeably more worn. His team, still in damage control mode, hoped that a shift in the news cycle would bring some relief. But the internet doesn't forget. Neither do voters. And neither, it seems, does Victoria. One viral comment under the original video captured the national mood perfectly. You can survive politics. But can you survive your wife walking out when the cameras are rolling? As the story continues to unfold, one thing is certain. Some moments, once caught on camera, never go away.